everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Angie, and on my channel I like to do all things homemaking, particularly cooking and home decorating. I hope you caught my last video, my Thanksgiving home tour, where I talk a little bit more about myself. On today's video, I am going to be making a few different dinners and a few different desserts. So I'm starting out today with oven bacon. I like to do this almost every week just so that we already have it made. And I do it in the oven because it seems to cook more evenly that way. So I'm just laying this whole pack of bacon out on parchment paper, which I find helps absorb some of the grease. And so I'm just going to lay all that out and put it in a 400-degree oven. I'm just speeding this up because this is something I do on most of my videos, so you don't have to watch the whole thing. So I just stick it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Now I'm moving on to low-carb peanut butter mousse. This is one of our favorite desserts. This calls for half of a block of cream cheese. And I like to soften mine in the microwave. I just stick it in there for, I think, 30 seconds. And while that's in the microwave, I'm going to add a half a cup of heavy whipping cream to my mixing bowl. And you'll just want to whip this till stiff peaks form. So you'll just want to set that aside while you make the rest of your mixture. So I'm just putting my softened cream cheese into another bowl. I'm adding peanut butter, 1/4 of a cup. So you want to mix that together well, and then you're going to add your favorite powdered sweetener. I'm using the Swerve brand. And it's 1/4 cup of that. And also a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm just going to mix that together well. And then once that's mixed together, you want to add a little bit of salt. It helps bring out the flavor. And then I'm going to fold that mixture into my whipping cream. You want to make sure you fold it in and you don't stir it too much. You want it to keep the air and the fluffiness. Now that that's all mixed together, I'm going to get out my ramekins. And you can use an ice cream scoop and just scoop the mousse into the dishes, but I like to use my icing bag, and using a tall glass just kind of helps hold the bag up while you're filling it. And I just have one of the bigger star tips on the bag. If you don't have an icing bag, you can also use a big Ziploc bag and just cut the corner of it and pipe it in that way too. So I'm just going to go in a circular motion until they're filled up. This doesn't make a lot, so you don't fill it all the way to the top, but it's supposed to make 4 servings. And then sometimes I'll melt Lily's chocolate chips and I'll drizzle that on top of it. It fills it to about at least halfway full. So now moving on to something I love to have on hand, and that's soft-boiled eggs. And when I say soft-boiled eggs, they're not runny in the middle, they're just soft. I don't like mine to be overcooked. To me, this just has the best flavor. And so the way I do it is I add the amount of eggs I want to my pressure cooker, and then I add 1 cup of water, and I'll have an ice bath ready for when I take them out. But I only set it on 4 minutes. And they turn out perfect every time. So the ice bath just keeps the eggs from continuing to cook. So now I'm moving on to my low-carb pumpkin spice chip cookies. So for this I'm using a chocolate chip cookie recipe that we really like, and I'm adding pecans to it. So to my mixing bowl I added 5 tablespoons of butter that had softened, and I just mixed that till it softened even more. And now I'm sifting my dry ingredients. I'm adding 1 1/4 cups of almond flour. I want to make sure I get all the lumps out of it. Then I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of baking soda. Now I'm adding 1/3 cup of brown sweetener. You can use Swerve or you can use golden monk fruit, something like that. I'm doing a large pinch of salt and 1/3 cup of powdered Swerve. One teaspoon of vanilla. One egg. And Lily's pumpkin spice baking chips, a half a cup. And that's to replace the semi-sweet chocolate that's in the original recipe. And this isn't in the recipe, but I'm adding half a cup of chopped pecans. And these cookies were good. They're not my favorite. I prefer the semi-sweet chocolate better. But for something different, they were good. Just a warning that the pumpkin spice is pretty strong, stronger than what I normally would like, and they were very sweet. This is what the dough looks like, and it's going to be in the fridge to chill for 30 minutes. Now that the dough's chilled, we're going to make our cookies. I'm using a 1-inch cookie scoop. The recipe says that this made 12 cookies, but they must have been really big ones. This made, I think, 22 cookies for me, and I'm making it slightly larger than an inch ball. The recipe says to set the oven at 325. I would say 350 on a convection oven. It seemed like mine took longer to get done. These are going to go in the oven for 3 minutes, and then you pull them out and flatten them with a spoon and put them back in the oven for another 7 to 10 minutes. And this is what they should look like when they're done. Now we're starting the low-carb pizza. This calls for 10 ounces of mozzarella cheese. I'm putting it in the microwave at 30-second intervals. And now I'm gonna sift almond flour. It's 1.5 cups. Now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of baking powder. One teaspoon of xanthan gum. That's what gives it kind of a chewy consistency. Some salt, half a teaspoon. A teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm not sure why I'm sifting my herbs. You don't have to do that. I think it's just out of habit. If the cheese sits too long and it starts to firm up again, just stick it in the microwave for another 30 seconds. And then it melts enough. So I'm going to add that to a food processor. And then I'm going to add 1 egg to that. Then just mix to combine it. And now I'm gonna add the dry ingredients. I'm making a little bit of a mess here. gonna mix that well until a dough ball forms. And this dough is really easy to work with. You want to shape it into a disc. Either use parchment paper or wax paper so it doesn't stick. And then you're going to lay another piece of paper over it and then roll it out into a circle. You can do it as thick or thin as you want. And then spray your pizza pan with oil. And then start making the edge of your crust. Now I'm adding my Rao's pizza sauce. And then topping it with more mozzarella, and just add whatever toppings you want. I've tried a few different pizza recipes, and this is my favorite so far. There's one more recipe that I do want to try, but this was really good. And this was by Keto Focus, and it'll be in the description below. So now I'm going to be making low-carb chicken marsala. I loved this recipe. I started out kind of making it up as I went, but I did find a recipe for it. And I'm going to be using my pressure cooker to make this, so it's pretty easy and fast. So I put basil in, I'm putting thyme in, paprika, some salt, and some pepper. There's also Italian seasoning and some garlic powder. I'm gonna mix that up, and you want to coat your chicken on with this, and then heat some oil in a skillet. And you're gonna cook this for 3 minutes on each side until it's kind of brown. I like cutting my chicken butterfly style down the center because I don't like my chicken as thick and it gets done quicker. I did end up seasoning my chicken individually because the mixture that I did wasn't enough. So while that's browning, I'm getting my mushrooms cleaned and ready to go. So it's been 3 minutes. I'm gonna flip them over for another 3 minutes. I'm gonna start slicing my mushrooms. So now the chicken's ready to add to my Instant Pot. And now I'm adding the mushrooms. You can do the mushrooms with the chicken, or you can add them after the chicken's done. I'm adding 1 cup of chicken broth and half the mushrooms. And then I'm gonna set that with pressure for 8 minutes. That turned out perfectly. I'm just gonna use the pan I cooked my chicken in. And I'm gonna remove the chicken from the pressure cooker because I'm gonna make my sauce. I'm trying to leave the mushrooms in there. So you want to get the chicken out and the broth out because I'm gonna saute my mushrooms. Which if you put all the mushrooms in, you don't have to do this. I'm gonna add a little bit of butter and the rest of the mushrooms. And let that saute for a little bit. Add some salt and pepper. And a spoonful of minced garlic. And stir that up. And then I'm adding a half a cup of Marsala to the mushrooms. And the other half I'm adding to a jar because I'm going to make the thickener using arrowroot powder, which is like a cornstarch almost, but low carb. And I'm putting 3 tablespoons of arrowroot powder into the wine, and I'm going to shake it up, get rid of all the lumps so that it's nice and smooth. And then I'm going to add that to the sauce. And this thickens up pretty quickly, so you want to make sure you stir it right away. I'm adding 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then I'm going to add the chicken back in now that the sauce is thickened. And then I'm going to pour all that broth back into the sauce. If you like chicken marsala, you're really going to like this recipe. It was very good. And this is what it looks like. I'll definitely be making it again. We're just eating it plain on this night, but you could use cauliflower rice if you wanted to. Thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. It's completely free. I hope you enjoy these recipes, and I'll see you next time for a brand new video. God bless you. Bye.